And we're back.
Whoa.
Sorry about that, technical difficulties. We're back. Evelyn, you notice that your classmates are not with the skeleton. What do you do?
Oh, I'm Evelyn. Shoot.
Yes, you're Evelyn.
Okay, so I just came back from wherever I went,
Yeah.
and my classmates are not where I left them. Where are they?
I would say make an investigation check, but there's only two places they can go. They're in the weapon. They're in the weapons area. The lab right next door to the class, which you can go into.
Okay, well, I'll wander in there and say, hello, did I miss anything?
Yes, we think we found the weapon.
Like a weapon that was used on that skeleton?
We think so.
What are you thinking?
The handgun.
Anthony, go ahead and make a perception check real quick. That's D20 plus your perception modifier.
Natural 20.
Oh boy! Okay, so you look at this. You notice a whole lot. First off, you notice that a sniper rifle, a shotgun, and a handgun have all been pulled out of this cabinet and are right next to where Moss and Hunt have been working.
So plausibly taken out by these two.
Yes.
Maybe.
Second,
Who knows?
You notice that that there's another collapsed group of skeleton, another collapsed skeleton right next to the skeleton that they're looking at. This skeleton has some very interesting, dare I say, familiar damage to it. And since you got a natural 20, you get a photo. Here we are. Now I don't have any. I have the photo saved. What am I doing? I didn't find any photos of arms that look like this in my brief search of the internet.
Is this photo you're trying to get to me basically a photo of what I'm looking at?
Yes, it looks similar to what you're seeing with the skeleton.
I'm betting it's about the discoloration.
Well, I'm thinking I would like to ask them if they've noticed this, although
we have not. We don't know anything.
I don't know what to call it, but my character might.
Only Evelyn notices this.
Okay, let me. Okay.
And that's it. Looks like that around the skeleton's arms. They look blackened. They look, dare I say, charred.
Okay.
Around where, in a circle, like right around here, on both arms.
So I would like to point this out to the other two and say, hey, did y'all see this? Have you talked about it yet?
We have not seen it. We're dumb.
That happened?
When did that happen? We just kind of shot that one with a sniper rifle. I didn't know sniper rifles can light people on fire.
Maybe it's actually a flamethrower sniper rifle.
So the photo you sent me is it's some skulls with like black and charred damage to it, and you're saying I'm seeing this on the arms?
Yes, you're seeing that on the arms. You two can now look at the photo.
Yeah. So what you miss, Anthony? I'm metagaming here. I had shot one of the skeletons and used one of my class features, which is I made fiery chains appear on the skeleton.
Okay.
So that's what happened. But my character, at least, does not connect the dots. So I just wanted you to know that there is something that happened. We're just idiots.
Is this the sort of thing a student with this level of education would be able to tell if it was like really, really recent, like in the past, say, 10 minutes, or older than that?
Skeleton.
I
Does it smell like burning bone in this room?
it does smell a bit like charred it does smell a bit like smoke, like something was just on fire in this room.
So, were you guys playing with fire?
I mean, a little bit, but like nothing too bad. Like,
Contained arson.
No, this is fascinating. If you burn this skeleton, I'm dying to know why.
well, I had the tools to do it, and I was like, well, you might as well,
What happened?
yeah.
Evelyn, I believe you have a high enough like passive investigation to start putting the dots together. This looks very familiar to what you all saw on the skeleton that you're looking at.
Okay, out of character for a second. The skeleton with the burn mark on its arms is not the one we were assigned to look at.
No.
No, the skeleton that I'm talking about right now is the one that they shot. This is a practice. Oh yes, I should describe it.
Okay, so
Uh,
not the same
so,
skeleton I was examining the pelvis of earlier.
Correct.
Yes. So the one that we were looking at earlier has discoloration. It looks like it's getting darker the farther you go up the arm, and it has tiny little nicks on it. And this one has similar on the arms, on the wrists from the burning.
Okay, so whatever it is you did created the same kind of markings as we saw on the original skeleton.
Yes, that's the working theory right now.
Okay.
But my character's an idiot, so my character doesn't know that.
So
I have only rolled above a 10 once. So that's where we are.
what exactly did you do to this skeleton?
How often can I do that thing?
I
James?
think it's once per long rest. Let me check that. You can inscribe a rune, or you can put a rune on one weapon. Put one rune on one weapon.
So I could do it again with the. Nope, can't do it again until I finish a short or long rest.
Yep.
But if
Long
he
rest.
told me what it was, would I know what he was talking about? You know, I did my flaming chains of woe or whatever it's called, and would I have any idea what it is?
You wouldn't have any. I don't know if you would have any understanding of flaming chains exactly, but you'd get the idea of like, okay, this is some kind of magic. There's fire involved, and
I do see that I have some skills in making fire with magic.
yes, you do. As a matter of fact, kind of.
All right.
So then are these burn marks something that could be recognized as being caused by magic, or can you even tell the difference?
You can recognize that as there's no real difference between most magical fire is just the same as regular fire. You you've had experience with your spells, and you know that the fire that you have is a certain kind of fire that is not normal fire. I've said fire way too much, but the fire that you can cast is not normal.
I can't
Fire.
do the drinking game now.
Hmm?
Sorry. Okay, so I can look at that and go, this could be magical fire. Did this.
It could be fire. Yeah, it could be magical fire. Yes.
Did you do some kind of magical fire thing to this?
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay.
Well,
Do we want to go back to our
yeah,
original skeleton? Now that
What,
we
nick marks or something you were talking in addition to the burn marks?
Yeah, on the first skeleton there were tiny nicks where it was discolored.
And are they also on this one that you did your?
I don't know.
At a natural 20, no, they're not.
Okay. So whatever it is you did doesn't make little nick marks.
Gotcha. Does anyone else have a way to make fire so we could see if anyone else's fire does make nick marks?
Oh wait, I forgot. You're the wizard. You're not the cleric. Yes, you can do fire. You can do magic. You can do regular fire. The cleric can do special fire.
I can do special fire.
Or I would risk, burning the place down because I am a reasonably intelligent character. But I know whether or not anything I could cast would make those little nick marks.
Yes. So, wait, hang on. Say that again real quick.
The things my character can do that make fire, I see firebolt.
Firebolt is just a
Cantrip.
It's just a cantrip. You're just throwing a small ball of fire at a target.
Right, and I would presumably know whether or not it would leave little nick marks like we saw in the other skeleton.
Yes, you would. The fire that you throw is not. It's like if you took a little bit of kerosene in your hand, lit it on fire, and threw it.
Right. So
it's not anything solid.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've some. I can do some magic fire, but not anything that'll make nick marks like we saw in the other skeleton. Anyone else have any guesses?
That was the only fire thing I can do. So.
It's a very nice fire thing.
Thank you.
Don't do it again. Indoors. Don't do it indoors.
I can't do it for another little while, but it's fine.
Fire-ish thing that I can do is Sacred Flame, but that's not fire damage, it's radiant damage.
What kind of damage, sorry?
Radiant damage?
What does radiant damage look like?
I would probably know what it looks like, right?
Yes, you would know that it looks like it's like holy light, basically.
It's like holy light. I just summon, the power from my faith, and the gods just smite them on the spot for me.
So like that guy at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark when he looks at it and it's melting? Like that?
Exactly like that. So I don't think that's what we're looking for.
Interesting. Do we want to try it anyway, or?
I mean, we can. It's a cantrip. I can do it as many times as I want.
Okay.
Is there another skeleton that I can cast Sacred Flame on?
Just remember, if you burn the place down, we get bad grades.
I thought if we burn the place down, everybody automatically gets an A.
Except us, maybe.
You do notice that this room is specifically made to be not flammable. It's all bricks. There's no wood in here.
Encourage some people to try harder.
So, I have a slightly out of game question. You were saying You were saying that Anthony's character's fire wouldn't be able to do it because it's not solid. It'd just be like lighting kerosene on fire and throwing it.
Yes, it wouldn't be able to create nick marks like a
Would napalm do the trick?
No.
Okay. I was just curious.
Maybe an ingredient.
Anyway,
I think what you're saying, James, about my little fireball thing is it, unless it's on something super flammable, it's probably just thrown away and evaporate. Gets it in the fire.
Kind of. If it's actually no, you would know that if it strikes something flammable, that flammable thing will ignite. But you're not entirely sure what will happen against a skeleton. Which, by the way, as you're starting to look around, you notice that there are hundreds of skeletal simulacra for you to test stuff on, test weapons and magic on.
Like models were allowed to do whatever we want to?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, heck,
I go grab one to cast Sacred Flame on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So-
gonna watch with interest.
Sacred Flame is a
The target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d8 radiant damage. And it
dex
is a
saving throw. Got it.
This isn't an area effect thing.
Let me no, that's a failure. That's a 4 plus something. So go ahead and roll 1d6.
2.
Skeleton
2
even have
damage?
dexterity save?
Huh?
Can something that can't move even get a dexterity save?
You notice that the skeleton, these skeletons, these skeletons can move.
they shimmy.
They shimmy slightly. And as you're noticing this, one of the skeleton's heads slowly turns towards you and then turns back.
Do we see this? Do I see this?
Yeah, do I see this?
You all see this. Right, so you do 2 damage to one of the skeletons. If you want to examine the skeleton,
I would like to examine the skeleton.
okay. Investigation or perception, your choice.
I would like to examine it too, if that's okay.
Dang.
I don't think the separatism matters. I just rolled a 1.
Oh my. Okay, so you.
It's fine. I got an 8. We're living.
I suddenly go blind.
You don't go blind.
Investigation 18 plus
You- Get to you in a second, Anthony, because you actually see what the trauma does. But Moss, you cast this, and in the fire, you see the holy, radiant face of your god smiling down on you, and you are just awestruck for just a minute. And you just stare at the fire. You can't really bring yourself to think of anything that could be more important than this right at this very moment. And then the fire goes out and your friends are already crowding around it. Jack.
I got an 8.
Hunt, you got an 8. You're looking at where the flame hit, and you can't really make heads or tails of anything. You have no idea what's going on. Evelyn, Anthony, you see the flame go out, and there's not much in terms of anything there left over on the skeleton. You do realize, you do notice that that there is some kind of magical energy that's kind of keeping the skeleton together. Now that you get close enough to it.
Are you saying after she did her thing, it's indistinguishable from before? Or are you saying like what she shot is now gone?
After what she did, after it's vanished, any damage that she did is indistinguishable in terms of the skeleton. But the magical energies that are holding it together, they seem a little bit weaker.
So it didn't do the same thing. Gotcha.
It didn't do the same thing, no.
Understood.
Well, I guess that sort of makes sense. Cleric does something to an undead thing, it's going to weaken it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we have a good read on one of the two things of trauma we found and a kind of good read on the other. We have a good guess as to what the discoloration is. We just don't know what the nicks are from. And we know what the hole in the skull was. It was a handgun.
At some point, we do need to circle back around to stature.
Yes, and what was the other thing? It was stature, something else, and trauma.
Stature, age, and trauma. Stature, age, sex, and trauma.
Gotcha.
okay, when I left, you had a femur measurement. Did anything further come out of that for stature? Okay.
We know it is taller than 49 centimeters.
Taller than 49 centimeters. That's what we got.
49 centimeters.
Oh, but I think the biological sex is female based on the things we were finding on the pelvis.
That was what I was thinking too. And we needed sex, stature, and what was the other thing?
Age.
Age.
Okay.
And trauma.
And trauma. So, well, they came into this weapons room for a reason, I guess, is just on a glance around. Is there anything here? It looks like it might have caused some of the damage we saw in the other. I'm not a martial artist here, but.
Go ahead and make a perception check or a perception or history.
History. Oh, we'll go with history. 17 plus 4.
Okay. So your mind's been thinking about these nicks for a little bit. You stepped out to go to the restroom or whatnot, and your mind's been thinking on these. And the nicks, look, they have they're not terribly deep, but they have a little bit of a V-shaped pattern. And that seems, that's been going in your head. That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. It clicked. That's probably from a bladed weapon. Those nicks are probably from a weapon with some kind of blade.
Okay.
And yes, in this room, there are plenty of bladed weapons for you to.
Even in my. Hey, look, y'all. Sharp force trauma tends to leave V-shaped marks on the bone.
Awesome.
I wrote it down into my notes.
Wow.
I wrote it down so I wouldn't have to remember it.
How many nicks are there? Just like a rough estimate.
Rough estimate. On the arms, a grand total of maybe 3 or 4. On the ribs, a couple others.
I thought it was like 60 or something. Okay.
So out of character for a moment, would identifying something as, say, sharp force trauma be sufficient for this or do we need to like figure out what sort of thing actually did the trauma? Like, was
That's
it
up
an
to you.
or something?
That's up to you.
Well, I mean, what's the assignment? I guess my character
The
would understand.
assignment is to assess the trauma.
Okay, so would sharp force trauma be a sufficient assessment, or would we have to?
I would think that if we could narrow it down a little bit, see if we could say like probably a sword or a knife instead of an axe kind of thing, that would probably be a little better. I don't think we have to be like it was this specific axe, this model. But
Because like all my notes say is the marks can vary a bit depending on the instrument, but there aren't any specifics on what sort of variations correlate with what sorts of.
Look at you with your detailed notes.
I'm just realizing there's more than one page to the notes I was given. I was just looking at the page that was about the. Yeah, I was just looking at the page that was that was talking about the pelvis, and I was like, "Cool! I know one part of this."
He's like the one person I was hoping wouldn't be in my final exam team.
So with one of the formulae that are in my notes, we can find out stature because we have a female femur that measured 49 centimeters. We multiply that by 2.47 and add 54.1.
Wait, there are actually supposed to be formulas in that box?
So the height of our cadaver is 175 centimeters.
It looks like I have the same formula in here. Now, me out of character, I really have no idea what these numbers mean, but in character, would I know if what he just did was what he was supposed to do?
Theoretically, yes. You would all also know that your professor doesn't want a straight single number answer. Dr. McQueenie wants a range of numbers.
Well, I do notice here in my notes what he said, but there's also a plus or minus 3.72.
All right.
So we could do a little math and come up with a range.
So between 171 centimeters and 178.8 centimeters. So I'll drop those numbers in chat so we have those.
I did an intelligence check to save myself the trouble. Yeah. So then, learning for me, just out of character, if I found a female femur, I would. How does this formula work? Multiply what the length by 2.47?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you add 54.1.
Plus or minus 3.72.
Yeah.
Anthony, it's a standard linear regression formula.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Whip out my mage calculator and double check his math. You said 49 centimeters was the measurement?
Yes.
So 121.03, and then we got to figure in plus or minus. Did you say 121.03?
I had 171.41 to 178.85.
Oh yeah, I gotta add the.
Yeah.
I didn't add the 54.1. Okay, I agree.
Yes. So now we have stature, biological sex, and I would say that we have enough on trauma to get
Yep.
by, at least to pass, if not, maybe not ace it, but. So now we just need to find age.
Okay. So you all go back to your skeleton, and can I have you all roll investigation or perception checks again for me real quick?
That's a 3.
19 plus something. 4.
That is a 15 for perception.
Cool. Okay, so Jack,
Yes.
you're looking at this and you're just okay. I can. I'm lost.
I have in notes. I have stuff on how to figure out age, but it's out of character, using lots of words I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was looking at that too. But now in character it also uses a lot of words I don't know.
Oh, do I?
Delaney, you see. You were looking at this. You're looking at one of the hip bones, one of the os coxa, and you see that this. Yeah. You see that it looks. There's like a little border around the top and the bottom, and there's also a little bit of a border on the side that faces toward the back. Anthony, you see all this, and you also notice that there's some border starting to form on the front side, and there are also these little. There's like maybe one small little bone nodule, small little one little button thing of bone.
Would this be enough for my character to figure out what is it, Suchi Brooks, something like that? What face I'm looking at here?
Theoretically, yes.
This really does have words I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm starting to recognize that. If I'm being honest, age estimation is one of my least favorites mechanics wise. Go ahead and make an intelligence check with advantage. So that's roll 2 d20s and take the higher.
Okay. First roll is a 2. Second roll is a 16.
Okay. 16 plus your intelligence modifier, that's like a +2, I think. Yeah, you're putting all this together and you're thinking, okay, this sounds a lot like a phase 2.
Okay.
It sounds like this looks a lot like a phase 2
So
fuck.
That's a bad word.
Watch thy language.
did that just come out of the loudspeaker or something?
Hear the voice of God.
Yes, the voice of you specifically heard the voice of God go, fuck, I forgot about that.
It would have been better in robot voice. So can I
Hang on a sec. all of you who took good notes, you get you do have this in your notes. I just didn't put it in because I completely fucking forgot. I
Still
completely
bad
forgot
word,
about
but okay.
Da, 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 da. Not that. There. Those of you who got successful notes, you have that in your you have access to that, and that'll give you age estimations. I am so sorry, guys. I forgot to add the actual numbers.
No, that's the cool thing about being the DM is you can just kind of wing it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just downloaded. Okay. So I guess I would like to point out what I'm looking at and why I'm positing it's this phase 2 or whatever to these and ask their opinions.
Okay.
So we're going to go to a different one. I'll turn off my camera for a sec so you don't get seasick.
Are you turning your monitor because one of the pages is built different? I mean, yeah. We're just built different. These results are from... Okay, so what do these numbers mean? The mean is 19.4, the SD is 2.6, so the age range would be about 15 to 24. Where do I get the numbers? Wait, let me look at the other page. So that's saying the exact same thing, but it's the correct direction. Okay.
If we said it was a phase 2, wouldn't it be 19 to 40 and not 15 to 24?
Oh, are we saying it's phase 2?
I thought that's what we said.
I pointed out what I was looking at and said I think it's phase 2 and agree, disagree. What do you think?
I technically don't have these notes, so I cannot say anything.
Well, heck, you can.
Even though I have these notes, my character has no idea. But out of character, I would agree with phase 2. I would say probably somewhere on the cusp between phase 1 and 2. So maybe on the lower end of phase 2, higher end of phase 1.
You would also know that Dr. McQueenie wants an age range, not a specific age number.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying like 18 to 23 as opposed to 15 to 23 or 19 to 35.
Yeah, I mean, what's a reasonable range for a human skeleton? Like 5 years, 10 years? I don't know how close you can guess an age. For real, I mean.
It honestly depends on the stage, because this is all out of character. You'll notice that a lot of the later stages are like 30 to 80.
Mm-hmm.
That's because age estimation is notoriously difficult, just because of stuff like activity level and diet and etc.
So reading this phase 2 thing, is this saying that it's like a 95% probability the age will be between 19 and 35?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is that what it's saying? Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite a range for a human. It's 16 years. That's a good chunk of a human lifespan. Okay, and now he was saying he thinks low phase 2, high phase 1.
Hmm.
So is that something you can do? Could we look at that and go, okay, low phase 2, high phase 1 would be like, say, between 19 and 23? Is that a reasonable something you get taught to do, or is that something you can't do?
That's up to you.
Okay. Well, what would my character think of that?
Hmm.
That's up to you.
How about this, James? If you were coming out of this, how big of an age range would you want to be giving the teacher?
If I were coming into this, I would want to give a large age range to cover all the possibilities.
Okay.
Okay, more likely to get it right. So, as opposed to trying to narrow it down.
Then I would say we should just say phase 2, 19 to 35.
Yeah, because 19 to 23 falls in that range as well.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. So we have 19 to 35 years old, female.
About 171 centimeters to 178.85 centimeters tall.
Like a sharp object trauma or something like that.
Yeah, it was high velocity sharp force trauma to the skull, and then there were some sharp force traumas to the arms and ribs,
Okay.
and some burning on the upper arm and chest.
So are we all agreed on submitting this as our answer, or does anyone want to do anything before we go commit ourselves?
I'm
I'm
good
good
with
with
it.
whatever you decide.
I'm good with it.
Okay, I'm good with it. So what are we supposed to do? Write this down and hand it to the instructor?
So you all go up to the professor.
I'll do my
Y'all
little
go up to
message
Dr.
at the instructor and whisper the answer to the instructor. How's that?
You can just say it to Dr. McQueenie. I mean, nobody else has your skeleton.
Mm.
Okay.
So you all go up to Dr. McQueenie, and Dr. McQueenie's just kind of looking around at everybody and saying, looking around, "Oh, are y'all ready to present your findings?"
Yes.
Well, let's hear it then.
So we believe we have a biological female, age range 19 to 35, and stature about 171.4 centimeters to 178.8 centimeters. And would anyone else like to cover trauma?
We decided, hold on, I'm getting the correct words here, from sharp force trauma because of the V-shaped marks on the bone that we found.
Mm-hmm. And then high velocity sharp force trauma to the skull to get the clean entrance wound and broken exit wound.
Agreed.
Okay. Anything else?
Done, right?
I think we answered all the questions.
There's also,
fire.
the discoloration.
The discoloration is from fire.
Okay. and she looks.
And it would probably be it would be hard tissue damage from the fire.
Like regular healthy fire, not creepy cleric weird fire.
At this point, she actually chokes up a little bit, like.
What's creepy?
I don't mean anything to the religious studies department, but that's a good one. That's a good one, Evelyn. She looks up at the board at your number and looks back through her notes. Yes, biological female. Height about 5'10", 22 years old. There was projectile trauma to the skull. She was actually placed in a car crash scenario as well to look at fire damage, and yes, some sharp force trauma. Those are actually defensive marks from someone stabbing at her with a blade, or stabbing at her skeleton with the blade. She did die of natural causes. Do not worry. She died of natural causes. We don't take murder victims here. Yes, good job. You all pass, and you are welcome to go. So,
there's other people who can do this. I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, the first time I'm looking at a 22-year-old, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I'm a theater major.
So
you all walk out of the classroom, and you all go off to your respective things. Moss, I'm assuming you go sleep off your hangover.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be done with that. Time to go pass out.
Hunt and Evelyn, what do y'all do?
I would say that's probably my last final, saving the best for last,
Yeah.
And
after that, I need a drink. You.
Yeah.
All right, so y'all walk into town to go get a drink, and a few days later, you all see that in the grade book, you all got 100 for your exam. Congratulations! You have all passed your final. You've passed your class. And you're rounded out your semester here at Brookside University. Congratulations.
Well, let's go have another drink.
Thank you all so much for participating. I realize this is super last minute, and I'm so glad that y'all were able to come together and bring all the energy and all the personality y'all did.
No, it's fun, man. It was a pleasure. I hope you got what you needed out of it for your grade, but and did, then I also hope you had fun.
Yeah.
And it was nice to meet the two of you.
All right. So thank you all for participating, and I'll see y'all later.
Right.
Have a good winter break, Anthony, and I'll see you two.
At D&D.
At D&D.
At D&D. Oh, I'm so ready for the character. I'm ready for you to hear the character voice.
Oh, I'm so excited for
I can't wait.
the D&D session. Okay.
Well, good luck, James.
She's playing a barbarian. Delaney's playing a barbarian.
Cool.
All right.
You may have to record that then. I might want to see some highlights. It's some good role playing there.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.